Hello, Calico Cooper. How are you? Thank you so much for
Thanks for having me.
this interview. And you look great. You look great.
Oh, thanks so much. It's a rainy day here in LA, so
Anyway.
you're getting me live from my closet.
Awesome. You look great, there, but also you look great here on stage. Look at that.
It's
You're
the same person, believe it or not.
you're kind of every time there's a new tour or a new show, something you improve your character, right? You add more stuff or you reinvent yourself. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think at first we kind of had this loose idea that it was sort of this like ghostly biker sort of Wild West thing, and I loved it and we went with it. But then after like three records, I was like, I don't want to change it, but I want to like add an element to it. And I was like, what you don't see a lot of is like Wild West in space. You know what I mean? So these like outlaw biker motor gang guys in space. And so I just had the freedom to sort of create that. And, nobody told me, I didn't have any guidelines on costumes or what to create or any of the visual effects. It just sort of like started to come together. And I just am drawn to that sort of like, I think maybe we're all a little bit drawn to like, who is the beast for you? Like, you're you and I'm me. But then when your beast comes out, like if somebody were to draw you as a comic book character, like what powers would you have? What would you look like? Would you look like a monster? Would you look like this or that? And so I think you see it in all the band guys. Like Chuck is a really cool, funny sort of like, like backwoods mountain guy. And then when he puts the beast on, all of a sudden he's this big
I know.
warrior with the furs and the medals. And that's who he was, and for me, mine was more, this is me. And I'm quirky, I'm an actor, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then when I dug deep, like, what does the inner beast look like? And for me, it didn't have teeth and claws and fur. For me, it had a robotic arm,
Yes.
lasers, and was tall and yeah, and I don't know. So that just kind of came out of a really real place of like, wow, I get the chance to invent what my beast looks like, and that's what she looks like.
Because I think that you went from the stick. You have like a big stick, right? And you replace that with the arm, right? With the electronic arm, right?
When we were doing sort of the cowboy sort of thing, I kind of had a high priestess sort of like vibe going, and I don't think I'd reached my true potential, which is what you see behind you.
Gotcha.
I think that was the truth. I think at first I was dipping my toe in the water and being like, well, and it's really interesting for women too, because I wanted to be real. And I wanted to, even though, I mean, obviously it's a costume and we're playing characters, but I wanted it to be as real as possible. And so I think when I was doing more of that, like stick and kind of like witchy kind of thing, I think that was more what I thought people wanted. And what I thought was still kept like a little femininity and still kept a little, I was afraid to go all the way with it. And
Gotcha.
I think once I got the bravery to do that and go all the way with it and know that I can be this like half cyborg, space brat and not lose any sexiness and any femininity, it gave me a confidence that like I cannot describe.
Absolutely. And you use your skills as an actress because it's not only just a character, it's all what it comes inside, right? All the way you move, the way you act. It's like you believe that. It's like kids in the 70s, or like when I was a kid, I thought that Gene Simmons was a real demon, right?
Right.
And that's what I believe you. I believe that you are that character. So that's the extra part that I think you bring with as an actress. And well, that's cool because there's also talking about Beasto Blanco. There's a lot of new things coming on right now, right?
Yeah, a lot of new stuff.
New stuff like new merch, new music. A comic book that is called Space Wave Conquest.
Yeah, and that came about in a crazy way. It's just like, you know you're on the right path, doing the right thing when, you know, we started doing this like sort of space themed show, and we started like putting all this stuff together. And as we were doing it and performing it, people started to really respond. And they were like, whoa, this is cool. We're super into it and whatever. And then the more and more people that got on board, the more and more they told their friends. And that's how we ultimately got a call from this comic book company, Comic Online. And they were like, we love what you do visually. It's great. We want to do a comic.
Nice.
And sorry, somebody
That's
said
okay. I love dogs. This is a pet friendly show, so no problem.
Basically, they contacted us and they were like, we're super interested in doing this comic. And we were like, oh, okay. They'd never seen the show. They'd only seen photos.
Okay.
Like that. And they were like, oh, we can draw right off of that. But once they saw the show, we have, I think it's on Blu-ray and DVD. It's called The Freak Stream.
Yeah.
You can get it on our website too. And it was just, they saw the show and they went, you already wrote it. You already.
It's amazing.
So right now, I'm learning about comics. Right now, the Ash Can is on sale, which is in the comic world, it's sort of like a limited edition preview. So they did the first 10 pages of the comic, and there's only like whatever, how many of them made, like not a lot. And it's very limited. So if you are a Beasto Blanco fan, you have to get it now. I don't know if there are anything left. So. I don't know if there's any left. I know I don't have one because they didn't have one to give to me. So, it's limited edition, and then that's all they're ever going to make. And then the full comic will come out. Hopefully, we'll continue to do. Ash Can is limited. The comic is not limited so far. So that's really exciting because, you know, they're telling us, oh, it's going to be in, you know, all these major comic stores. And I'm going,
nice.
Oh my gosh, like my childhood fantasies are coming.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, definitely. I'm going to buy one and I'm going to ask you to sign it for me.
Absolutely.
Thanks. So, you know, music. Okay, that we're going to talk about the merch in a little while. And, you know, I have a lot of questions about music because I just had something new, which Out of Darkness, Fight, and Lowlands. Which I love them all. And you sing of the three of them, correct?
Yeah. So I have never written a song for Beasto before. I just sort of would sing what they handed me. And it was always really good. You know, they have an idea of my vocal range and who I am and what our story was. But this time we sat down in the studio, and over the pandemic, I'd written Fight. Okay. And I'd written Lowlands.
Yeah.
And so Chuck wrote Out of Darkness. But it feels like they're three completely different genres of rock, which is cool. And when we wrote them, you know, the reason we haven't released them yet is we're not sure if we're going to do singles or if we're going to try and make it work conceptually in an album. So we're kind of doing more songs to see which way we go. But yeah, Out of Darkness is a real like radio bop.
I think it's catchy. It's like, you know, what we need, you know, like in times of pandemic, we need something like upbeat, you know, something that gives you power, you know, and so that I really like Out of Darkness. And Fight is like your song, right?
Yeah. So I wrote Fight because it was right that time during the pandemic when it was like, everything was going to hell. You know, it was everybody's issue. It was like, you know, Me Too and Black Lives Matter and all these things. And everything felt heavier than the next thing. And I just kind of saw all of these people. And I remember I was sitting out my backyard and I'm drinking wine. And I was like, man, I said, there's so many of us and so few of the actual people that pull these strings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I was like, what if all of us, like, and I know it seems such like a juvenile thing to say, but you know, when you're drinking red wine, everything makes sense. And I was like, I go, what if every, like race, color, sex, sexual preference, religion, if we all turned around together and went, no more, then we would take over, we'd win. And so I wrote Fight with that sort of in mind. And then Lowlands was sort of it was my snarky sort of, I was feeling really like sort of grumbly and sort of like, you know, whatever. And the whole song was birthed off of that line, like, you know, really the only thing special about you is me. And everybody's related to that, where you're like, wait a minute. The only thing that makes you remarkable, the only thing that makes you noteworthy is me. And it's sort of this, I turned it into this like New Orleans sort of like, yeah, like witchy, like sort of like seance-y sort of song, and it sounds really swampy. I love it.
And also, I saw the merch that I saw you have a new t-shirts. There's a DVD with a booklet, 2 picks, guitar picks. I think it's also, have you watched it? That DVD? Yeah. Do you have it? It's amazing.
That's the Freak Stream. That's the show that we did through the pandemic, and we got this place that had LED on the floors and the walls and the ceiling, and so the whole stage was LED. So it was like, wow, we were lost in the world, and yeah, it was amazing.
And also talking about live shows. So how was the Monster of Rock?
It was incredible. It was packed. We got to play in front of these people who have been locked up for 2 years. We've been locked up for 2 years, and it was our first time on stage in front of people. Like the Freak Stream was great, but it was only in front of the crew. There was no audience. Yeah. So it was just like being alive again, being in front of an audience,
Yeah. Did you happen to, I don't know if for, COVID restrictions, you couldn't talk to the fans? Were you able to?
We were, because so the boat had a lot of rules. In order to get on the boat, you had to have your vaccinations, you had to be tested, you had to whatever. So we felt a little more comfortable, talking to fans and hanging out. We were able to get pictures and.
You and your family and your parents. So, I have a feeling that when you go to your parents' house, it's like a big stage, like a theater. The whole house is a theater stage, and you guys are all acting all the time. It's like the Adams. Please don't take me wrong, okay?
No.
It's like the Adams family in a good way. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like you guys are. I don't know, and I think you are probably the engine of the family. I have the feeling that you are bringing all the time, like stories or creating situations where everybody has to play a role. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you are the one who goes and poke everybody else in your family and then okay, let's start this, and everybody has a role on it.
Everybody's guilty. So everybody in my family is involved in some kind of arts, and it always seems like I'm the only person in my family that doesn't live in the city that my parents live in. So my parents, brother, sister, their wives, their kids, everybody lives in Phoenix.
Yeah.
And I live in LA. And so when I come into town, I always have a million things I need them to do for me, where I'm like, put on this, I need you to, and then put this voice and do this background vocal and do this acting thing. And then exactly the same comes right back at me. They're like, okay, so I need you to pretend to be blah, 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 and fix this and do this and sing this. So it's a constant.
I love it.
Constant.
I love it. So your parents had an anniversary, a long time ago. Like there's a video of you jumping in, creating a situation, and your dad goes, okay, give me that microphone that actually is a brush or something. Yeah. Give me that. He kind of, takes over.
Well, he had, they'd done a show, and then I was backstage, and my dad turned to my mom and he said, what would be so cool? And there's this castle on stage. It's like a real life lake. It's like 15 feet, 20 feet, whatever, how big. It's up there. And at the end of this piece, she goes down the stairs like this, and he goes, what if you fell backwards off of it and we'll catch you in a net, like the crew will catch you? Okay. And she's going, what? And I go, what? And he goes, yeah. He goes, think about it. The smoke would come up and she'd just fall back and it would be so epic. And I go, Dad, you can't ask her to do that. And she's like, well, maybe I could try. I go, no. And he goes, hey, it could work. And so I grabbed the brush and I was like, hi, everyone. Welcome to my mom's funeral. And then somebody started recording it. and that what you saw was the way it played out.
Yeah, that is so cool. I love it because it's always with good sense of you. And tell me, are you following your dad? Are you going with your dad tour? Are you touring with your dad right now, or you going, or
So
just your mom, right?
yeah, just my mom. They're on tour right now with Buck Cherry, and I think they're gonna do the last couple of shows with Ace Frehley.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm here in Los Angeles just doing film and television. I get out to visit as much as I can, because I it's like the family business. We're essentially a circus family, so it's like
I love it.
the traveling circus is constantly going around the world, and you just try to jump on the train whenever you can.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And so what are you doing in acting? Are you kind of participating in a theater on movies?
Yeah, so I'm doing television. I think I'm working on a couple things right now that I can't talk about, but the one thing I did do recently, it was just like a fun little thing. There's a show on Apple TV, and it's called The After Party, and I have a funny little scene with Tiffany Haddish, who's a great comedian. She's really funny. But yeah, I'm directing a ton of stuff.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, just getting ready to sit down and finish out the comic story with the guy that's doing the writing. So it's like I'm directing things and I'm doing shows, and we have a small Beasto tour coming up in July.
Okay.
So we're just going to do some of the shows that we had to cancel at the beginning of the pandemic. We want to make those up.
Nice. Yeah. Excellent. So I can find all that information in beastoblanco.com.
Yeah, you'll be able to. In the next couple of days, the whole tour schedule will be up. I think we're adding shows constantly. Yeah. I think they were kind of waiting to get the whole...
Right now, everything is coming fast, so it takes time to organize. And yeah, no, I definitely understand
I definitely don't have the tech savviness to run the website, or I definitely would. I don't have Instagram, but as far as the internet, that whole thing goes, got to leave that to the professionals, I'm afraid.
That's cool. Calico, I just want to thank you so much for this interview. You are a beautiful person inside and out. Okay. So yeah, no, definitely. And you're always nice to me, always available, always with the fans, with the people, like your family, your family is a people, family.
People.
You're people.